informed Davide a moment later. There were more chapters than just the ones for which he had access. That was why the Antarean had said, not all of them. There were more than Davide had been told. Initially stunned by the revelation, the human researcher didn't suspect any deception on the part of the Antaere priests regarding his access to the holy texts. Although he'd been supposedly granted access to all of them, he understood that all was a relative term. All that applied to him and his studies, all he was allowed to see, all that weren't marked for Antaere eyes only. Even still, he would love to see the forbidden texts. "It is a shame that you are not allowed to see the other 6 corollaries," Davide said, attempting to bait the alien into revealing more details. 6? No, there are only 3 that I have not seen. You must be confused by other sacred documents you have viewed." "Of course," said Davide. "I do that often. I get so little opportunity for study on Antaere. And yet I have been granted full access." "That you have," said Sazin, his face animated and full of awe. "You are the first alien I have ever known to have such status." "It is because of my deep loyalty to the Order, even for an alien." Sazin mirrored Davide's thin smile, warm in its acceptance of the young priest, yet with a slight wickedness to it as well. "You know, my passcode should give you access to the entire collection," the human said softly. He continued with the deception. "What you are missing in not viewing the remaining 3 texts is quite profound, and would surely help you along your journey to the priesthood. It is a shame you are not allowed to see the rest of them, as I have already." Sazin's mouth fell open, and his yellow skin turned a shade darker. Davide panicked, thinking he'd crossed a line which could get him barred from the archives forever, or worse. "Forgive me, Sazin. I was thinking only of your future. I meant nothing untold that would get you in trouble." Sazin's yellow eyes blinked several times. "That is not the reason for my reaction. I realize the corollaries will be revealed to me at some future date, a time to be determined by others. The fact that I will eventually be given the honor proves that this is but an arbitrary decision to keep them from me. And yet you, as you say, an alien, have seen them, and that has created in me a sense of betrayal. Why is an alien worthy, yet I am not?" "I cannot answer that, Sazin. Please, let us forget this conversation and move on to other topics." The young Antarean pressed his thin lips together. He was becoming more frustrated by the moment. "It is not right. I am an Antarean. There are none above us, with the exception, apparently, of a human from the enclave on Izar. This is not what we have been taught." Sazin looked around the room quickly. They were alone. Even security cameras were not allowed in the sacred chamber for fear that images of the texts could be captured and broadcast. "You say you have seen the remaining corollaries?" Yes, I have," Davide lied. "Then give me your code key. I will retrieve the last of the corollaries and bring them to your table for study. If, inadvertently, my eyes were to fall upon them, then that would simply be an act of providence." Davide handed him the key. The alien rushed away and returned 5 minutes later with 3 thin glass cases containing the last chapters of the corollaries, the ones denied him. Davide's heart raced as Sazin laid the cases on the table. If what he thought was true, he would be the first outsider to ever gaze upon the holy documents. He was both excited and terrified by the thought. Sazin was sweating too, while his eyes furtively ran over the heavy writing on the square pages of the first document in the stack. Davide set to work. He would read the pages as quickly as possible, and then have the young priest return them to their storage chamber. The longer they lay on the table, the more chance they would get caught. At that point, Sazin would recite the lie Davide had told him, and that would be the end of his study privileges, if not more. The Antaere were very serious about their religion, and they had every right to punish Davide as they saw fit. The first